The training methods you're about to see are conducted by a professional. Please do not try these methods without first consulting a professional dog trainer.
Pups and dog fans, welcome to another edition of K9 Konnection, Guam's only television show for the love of dogs. This month's episode is full of exciting new things that I can barely contain myself. First, we meet Lola and Bella, a couple of beagles who like to give their mom a run for her money. We also take a stroll down to Ipoh Beach for the monthly Bark at the Park shindig to socialize with my doggy friends. Then we make a visit to Dr. Harper to talk about preventing Parvo. So take your paws off that remote. We'll be right back with K9 Konnection.
Half a day and welcome to K9 Konnection. My name is Brett Silk, your expert dog behaviouralist with the dog training squad. We're going to go and see Margie today. She's having some issues with her dogs pulling on the leash. So let's go and find out what that's all about, eh?
Meet Lola and Bella. At first glance, Bella seems to be the more laid-back of the two, and Lola the more active one. Lately, their owner noticed a bit of a change in their behavior, but in order to figure out what's going on, Brett has to take a look back at their history.
I saw Bella at the pet store. I did not know anything about beagles, I must confess. Now we do, but it was like, oh my gosh, it looks like a cartoon. I said it's cute. But after we had the first one, we got the second one because we really love them. And actually for our house, it's the right size.
Right.
Margie absolutely fell in love with beagles after meeting Bella, and soon afterward, she added a second beagle to her pack, Lola, whom she adopted from Dane.
Obviously the more dominant one would be Bella.
Well, I would say, well, she's the oldest, but Lola is pretty dominating.
We learned that because of their personalities, Bella sleeps in her own kennel, and Lola, with her whining tendencies, forces Margie to let her sleep in the bedroom. Brett explains how this could be a bad situation.
So we're in business together, me, you, and Faye, say. I'm number one, you're number two, Faye's number three. You come to work and you're like 5 minutes late. And I'm cranky with you. You should be here. Faye hasn't even turned up yet. She comes in another 10 minutes and I'm fine with her. You've been asking for a week off for months. Faye comes in and goes, can I get a week off? Sure, not a problem. She wants more pay. I'm giving her more pay. How are you feeling?
Bad.
Right.
Like I'm not valuable.
Right. Who would you think the favourite was? So you know that would lift her above you. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. So we already discussed where their position is, and Lola is pushing herself up the top as maybe being the favourite.
This competitive nature is the reason behind their pulling on a leash during walks as well.
That's not good.
No. And see, what I teach you is a system of communication that you can just use your voice to correct that situation. Grab hold of this for me. All right, hang Hang on to it tight. That's it. What's happening here? What is happening right now? What are we doing? What am I doing?
You're pulling.
And what are you doing?
Pulling.
So, pulling is based on both of you pulling. So the problem is that this is where the issue lies. And you know, actually all I'm teaching you is by pulling is to pull. You see that? The more I pull, the more you pull back. Does that make sense? That's one of the issues with walking. Walking is actually about communication. One of the first things that I noticed was that when you've got both of them together, there's competition. What happens is that they're vying for the #1 spot. So if Lola, being the youngest one, gets out in front, obviously Bella wants to go, hey, I'm more dominant and shoot back in front. So there's a little bit of that going on. And really the situation with that is that the actual leader is Margie. She's the boss, so they should be following her. And that's really where a lot of this all gets mixed up.
Overall, Brett showed Margie that she needs to establish herself as the leader, and neither of the dogs should be dragging her during walks. Here are some important tips for teaching your dogs to walk nicely on a leash. 1. Stop and correct the dog the minute they start pulling instead of continuing the walk. 2. Use a 4 to 6 foot leash instead of a retractable leash. A retractable leash only reinforces the pulling behavior. And 3. Keep the leash slack. This refers back to #1. Once they learn that the walk continues if they don't pull, you'll both have a nice, enjoyable walk.
For more information on Dog Training Squad, call 989-DOGS or 989-3647.
Next up, I'm going to tell you all about the cool dogs I hung out with at the monthly Bark at the Park. Stay tuned! You're watching K9 Konnection.
Pub quiz, everybody. What body part do dogs use to sweat? Is it A, their noses, B, their tongues, C, their feet, or D, none? Dogs don't sweat. The answer when K9 Konnection returns.
Half a day, my name is John from Pacific Pest Control. If you have any pest problems, please give us a call at 637-8959. Service guaranteed.
Dress up your inner child with Photo Hut, Guam's most entertaining photo booth that features the biggest bang for your dollar. Hundreds of props to choose from. Feather boas, a fake boa, necklaces, chains, clock on a chain, big hats, small hats, jumbo glasses, regular glasses, sunglasses, wrestling belts, and even lightsabers. We even have props for the toddlers. Customized photo layouts to match your party theme? Check. Quality sub-dye prints? Check. High definition camera? Check. Enclosed photo booths so you can let loose? You betcha. Give us a call at 777-4675.
Half a day, I'm Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio, and you're watching K9 Konnection.
Every time you buy local, you support Guam's economy by keeping the money on island, creating more jobs, and giving to local charities. Half a day, I'm India, the furry host of K9 Konnection. I support local businesses by getting my cool gear at Puppy Love Guam. Puppy Love Guam is a regular donor to Guam Animals in Need. Not only is that great for my canine and feline pals at the shelter, but also good for the community. So go Guam, think and support, and buy local.
Back to our pup quiz. Do you know how dogs sweat? The answer is C. Dogs sweat through the pads in their feet.
This pub quiz was brought to you by Pacific Pest Control.
Every month, Guam Animals in Need, or GAIN, holds a monthly shindig so pups like me can have play dates with our friends. It's called Bark at the Park.
This is what we're doing right now is the Bark in the Park, which is a time for people to bring their dogs and socialize the dogs and also socialize people and meet people.
Just like my people like to meet up for coffee or drinks with friends, I I like to catch up with my canine pals as well. Here's a tidbit from one of our regulars, Seth Foreman.
I just wanted to give my dog Sahara a chance to socialize with other dogs and get out of the fenced yard and see more of Guam.
Bark at the Park is just one of the many wonderful things Dane does for animals.
A lot of people think it's just a place for animals where you can take your stray animals, but Dane also is very involved in providing adoptions for people, and then they do education. One of the big issues that we have on the island is the stray population, and we really, really want to get everybody to learn that it's important to spay and neuter your pets.
Val believes in Dane's mission because she too has a rescue pup.
Rusty is my dog. We actually found her down on the beach at Agate. She's a boony dog, and we picked her up as a puppy, and she is our baby. We also have a house full of cats. We've got 6, and Roxy thinks she's a cat.
My pal Sahara also has great things to say about her life with Seth and her experience at Bark at the Park.
Very positive in terms of helping her learn to socialize with different people, different dogs, and she probably thinks it's helpful to get her human to socialize with other people and other dogs.
Everyone is always welcome to join the fun at Bark at the Park. We meet at 3 p.m. every second Sunday of the month by the Epal Beach Amphitheater. Check out Dane's Facebook page for more details.
Here's another pup quiz for you doggy fans. Giant George, the world's tallest living dog according to the Guinness Book of World Records, resides in the United States. What breed of dog is he? A. Great Dane. B. Irish Wolfhound. C. Mastiff. Or D. Chihuahua. Find out after the break.
When I take India for a drive, one of the things I like to do is keep her safe. So what I do is I tie the leash off on the outside of the car so that she's safe while she's in the car. So when we get to our destination, I've got hold of the leash so that when I open the door, I've already got control over her so she doesn't run away, she doesn't get hit, things like that. That's my tip.
Every dog is unique, especially your dog. At Booney B&B, we provide personalized daycare and boarding so your dog will have the opportunity to play and socialize, resulting in a more comfortable dog around other dogs. We also provide behavioral training as well as high-quality food, supplies, and accessories in our shop so your dog can be healthy inside and out. Visit us today in Chalampago, just after Island Fresh, southbound on Route 4. Booney B&B, Guam's only doggy bed and breakfast.
Hi, I'm Faye Varias, the voice of India on K9 Konnection. Playing India's voice is a great job that educates our viewers in a fun way. We can use our voices in other important matters as well. Abused animals don't have the ability to speak up, but we do. If you see animal cruelty, report it to the authorities. Write a concise, factual statement of what you observed, including dates and times. If possible, try to photograph the abusive situation and date your pictures. Call animal control. Call your mayor's office. Call the police. These individuals have the power to enforce all of our Guam laws, including animal cruelty laws, but they need our help. Without tips from the public, many animals would remain in abusive circumstances, silent and defenseless. But you can do something about it. For more information on how you can help fight animal abuse, call Guam Animals in Need at 653-GAIN. That's 653-4246. He loves to swim, boogie board, and go hiking. His name is Kutdu, and he's this month's featured pup and winner of the prize pack courtesy of Docomo Pacific. Your dog can be a star too. Simply send in your dog's photo along with your name, address, phone number, and a brief summary about what makes your dog special to K9ConnectionGuam@gmail.com. Next month's winner gets a free home pest control treatment courtesy of Pacific Pest Control.
K9 Konnection, brought to you by Pacific Pest Control, Crystal Rose Productions, Booney B&B, and Puppy Love Guam, Island Gear for the modern pet.
Do you know the answer to our pup quiz? The answer is A. Giant George, the world's tallest living dog, is a Great Dane.
This pup quiz is brought to you by Puppy Love Guam.
Speaking of Giant George and Great Danes, this month we're meeting a bunch of Guamanian Danes. Even though they're not quite as big as he, they're still every bit as giant.
According to the American Kennel Club, the Great Dane is nothing short of majestic and can be called a gentle giant, sometimes referred to as the king of dogs. This extremely large dog breed is known for being strong yet elegant, with a friendly, energetic personality.
Well, I've always loved big dogs, and I guess you can't get any bigger than a Great Dane. I've read a lot about them, their personality, and when the chance to finally get one came up, I jumped on it because it's really hard to do that here on Guam. They're very hard to come by on the island. I know Monica might be a little bit scary to some people, but she's really just a giant couch potato. Her favorite thing to do is when I'm sitting on the couch is to get up on the couch right beside me and try and make herself fit on my lap. I think she thinks she's a Chihuahua. So it's actually pretty comical when you see it in person. We're trying to break the habit of jumping on people when she's young, because she does that right now. And it's starting to get really uncomfortable when she does it just because she's getting so big, as you can see. We want to break her of that habit before she gets to weigh about 170 pounds, because that can be pretty intimidating, especially if we take her out.
Well, Great Danes happen to be one of my favorite breeds. They're totally loving. They're like big, gentle giants. You could have a Great Dane in a china shop. Probably wouldn't break a thing. So from that regard, they're just a really good pet. I think the hard thing about them is their lifespan is not that long. 7-8 years is probably average for a Great Dane.
Historians claim that there are drawings of dogs that resemble the Great Dane on Egyptian monuments from roughly 3000 BC. The earliest written description of the dog resembling the breed can be found in Chinese literature of 1121 BC. The origins of the Great Dane, as we know it today, can be traced to the Irish Wolfhound with a mixture of Old English Mastiff. The breed was originally developed by Germans to hunt boar, a ferocious animal. When no longer used for hunting, the breed changed to one of a companion and a state guard dog. However, their size can create some health issues.
As a breed, they have a high incidence of heart problems. I remember years ago, a dog was shipped in from the mainland that had cardiomyopathy, which is what they commonly have, and it begins to manifest itself very young, and it requires intensive juggling of drugs to try to control it, but ultimately, it's fatal. So they have more than their share of that problem in the breed. The other issues that they have are bone problems. They have huge, long, gigantic bones, and as they're growing up, they're very gangly, and sometimes they'll get knock-kneed or pigeon-toed, and to use human terms, as they're growing up. And in fact, recently I had a Great Dane in quarantine that was gigantic at 6 months, right? But during the growth phase, it just had a really difficult time standing up, and they have to be fed like a large breed food, and they have to be, they just have to be fed well and taken care of when they're young, because they can have growth problems.
If you're looking to get a Great Dane, here are some things to keep in mind.
In general, of course, you want to look at the parents and see what kind of problems they have. But aside from that, you have to be ready for the fact that, being that they have a higher incidence of heart disease and bony problems, you need to expect that. You need to plan for that. Hopefully it won't happen. But realistically, even no matter how cautious you are and whatever breeder you buy from, and even though you look at the line, there's always the chance of a breakthrough genetically on, and having those problems. So once you buy the car, you have to put gas in it. When you buy a big dog, you have to be ready for a long-term investment.
Are you ready for our last pup quiz? True or false? When you go to an animal shelter, you will only find boonie dogs. Find out when we return to K9 Konnection.
Half a day, my name is John from Pacific Pest Control. If you have any pest problems, please give us a call at 637-8959. Service guaranteed.
Missed last month's episode? No worries. Past episodes will be making their way to our website soon. Log on to tinyurl.com/K9 Konnection from July 1st and never miss another barking bit of K9 Konnection, Guam's newest television show talking about all things dog.
Catch us on at 7:30 p.m. Sundays and Wednesdays on Fox 6 and 5 p.m. Sundays on ABC 7. K9 Konnection, brought to you by Pacific Pest Control, Crystal Rose Productions, Booney B&B, and Puppy Love Guam, Island Gear for the modern pet.
Hi, my name is Dr. Velma Harper from Harper Veterinary Hospital, and you are watching K9 Konnection.
Every time you buy local, you support Guam's economy by keeping the money on island, creating more jobs, and giving to local charities. Half a day, I'm India, the furry host of K9 Konnection. I support local businesses by getting my cool gear at Puppy Love Guam. Puppy Love Guam is a regular donor to Guam animals in need. Not only is that great for my canine and feline pals at the shelter, but also good for the community. So go Guam, think and support, and buy local.
And we're back. So, are Booney dogs the only dogs found at the shelter? The answer is false. According to the ASPCA, around 25% of all animals at the shelter are purebred dogs.
This pub quiz was brought to you by Sunset Grill.
One of the most common ailments we hear about on island is parvo. But contrary to popular belief, it can also affect adult dogs, not just puppies. So we're here to talk to Dr. Velma Harper about how we can prevent that.
Parvo is a viral disease that affects primarily puppies. It's one that can be prevented in most cases by vaccination, and it's really important to have puppies vaccinated and make sure they have their series, because each successive vaccine after the first one boosts the subsequent one. That's why they're called booster shots.
Dr. Harper says that a common misconception is that once puppies get their first shots, they're good to go. Actually, they need to complete the series and get booster shots to be able to increase their immunity.
The reason why we're a little bit more concerned is because we're beginning to see parvo in the older puppies. Last week I had one that was almost a year old, and that's not very commonly seen. It's somewhat new. So whether it's because the virus is mutating or what have you, we're not certain. But we do need to get a series of shots into each puppy.
According to Dr. Harper, the parvovirus is extremely contagious and can be spread by any person, animal, or object that comes in contact with an infected dog species. With a large amount of stray dogs on island, it is common for an unvaccinated dog to contract parvovirus from the streets.
Let's say there's a stray dog out in the yard that walks across your yard, defecates on the ground, and then it rains, it dries in the sun, it becomes particulate, spreads around the grass. Your puppy goes out, walks through the yard, or you in fact go out in the yard and get the virus on your feet, on your shoes, come in the house, and then your puppy contracts it.
Once a dog contracts parvo, it could take a very intensive treatment by a vet where he or she can receive antibiotics, fluids to stay hydrated, and other supportive care.
The most important part of the treatments are fluids. If they've got it, a serious case of it, they need to be hospitalized and put on an IV so that their body's receiving a continuous supply of fluids, and antibiotics for secondary infection.
Luckily, parvo can be easily prevented by making sure your dog is up to date with vaccinations. And one thing that I learned today is that parvo is actually more common in cats than it is in dogs. So be sure to keep your feline pals vaccinated as well. Now we're taking a ride up to Anderson to visit with some dogs with a very important job.
With military working dogs, we do explosive detection, narcotic detection, as well as locate and detain individuals that try to trespass onto the base. They're basically a force multiplier. We're out there, we're seen, we're heard. They know that these dogs are working and they know what these dogs are capable of, and it's less likely, people are less likely to come out and do things on base because of the presence of these dogs. The dogs are trained to detect as well as bite and hold individuals once we release them on them, so they will attack people if we need them to.
These dogs mean business. When I asked about what type of boot camp they go through, we learned that these special canines are handpicked from all over Europe and especially bred at Laughlin Air Force Base in Texas.
So they come here with a baseline knowledge of what they're supposed to be doing, and it's up to us as trainers and handlers to further their education and knowledge and what they're supposed to do and advance them.
As military working dogs, these canines are trained to be patrolmen, just like military personnel, with duties ranging from building checks, law enforcement, and work observation posts.
A lot of times, unfortunately, it comes down to manning issues, where we'll just have an open dog and an open handler and we'll put them together. But in some cases, we do try to pair them up behaviorally. If we have a high drive handler that's 100 miles an hour, we try to put them with a dog that's 100 miles an hour. If we have a low drive handler that's just pretty laid back, chill, we try to put a laid back, chill dog with that handler. Just makes a better working environment and a better team.
Now we're going to meet military working dog handler Tina Stelly and her partner, Mike the German Shepherd.
I met Mike in October and I picked him up and spent about 2 months with him doing rapport, getting certified with him to be able to do our job together. And the rapport process with Mike in particular took a little bit longer because Mike had his previous handler was with him for a long time, so trying to get a rapport with him after he was with someone else for so long, it was a little longer process, but eventually we both came to see eye to eye with each other.
At a mature 10 years old, Mike is a high energy dog and acts just like a puppy.
I like having him with me because being a female sometimes, especially in this career field, it's harder for people to look at you like you can do the job, so having Mike there with me makes me feel a little bit more comfortable about being around. Mike in particular is very good at his patrol work, so we do a lot of demos to show the public that they are capable of fighting a suspect or chasing down a suspect if someone were to run away.
So how soon did they start their training, you ask?
They're brought over here at about a year old, then they're sent through the program, and we get them anywhere from 1.5 years to 2 years old. It depends on how long they go through training. The ones that are bred at Laughlin, they actually start immediately. As soon as the dogs can open up their eyes, walk, and they can have sense, they can sense, they're put through a training program, and they're looked at behaviorally of what they can do. And if they have the drive, they're put through the program. If they do not have the drive, then they're sent out for adoption, or other agencies can get them.
Sergeant Colliff tells us that these dogs are so excited by what they do that some of them will work until the day they die. But for those who have to retire earlier for different reasons, become available as household pets.
Well, usually the handler gets first choice to say whether they want to adopt the dog after they go through the whole disposition process. And once that's approved, you'll fill out the paperwork and you can take them home, and it's just the process of incorporating them from military working dog life to being a pet. So it's just like your typical stuff with another pet. You have to get them used to their environment. You play with them, you let them know that it's okay and that this is their new home.
That wraps up another episode of K9 Konnection. Until next time, this is India signing off. Adios!
Dress up your inner child with Photo Hut, Guam's most entertaining photo booth that features the biggest bang for your dollar. Hundreds of props to choose from. Feather boas, a fake boa, necklaces, chains, clock on a chain, big hats, small hats, jumbo glasses, regular glasses, sunglasses, wrestling belts, and even lightsabers. We even have props for the toddlers. Customized photo layouts to match your party theme? Check. Quality sub-dye prints? Check. High definition camera? Check. Enclosed photo booths so you can let loose? You betcha. Give us a call at 777-4675.
Every dog is unique, especially your dog. At Booney B&B, we provide personalized daycare and boarding so your dog will have the opportunity to play and socialize, resulting in a more comfortable dog around other dogs. We also provide behavioral training as well as high-quality food, supplies and accessories in our shop so your dog can be healthy inside and out. Visit us today in Parvo, just after Island Fresh, southbound on Route 4. Booney B&B, Guam's only doggy bed and breakfast.